Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Grateful Wounds podcast. I'm your host, Tanasha Allwood, and today's episode is a very special one for me. It's not just an episode for listeners, it's also a dedication. It's a special dedication to my beautiful granddaughter. She may not be able to understand these words today because she's only a few months old, and she may not hear this episode for many years from now. But that one day is going to come when she's older. She also may one day read my upcoming book, Grateful Wounds. And so when that day comes, I want her to know that despite the challenges we face, she comes from a family of love, resilience, and healing. There was a moment in time in my life where things felt very heavy. As a mom, watching your only child struggle is the hardest thing I believe a person can experience. My son, her father, went through a difficult season that included incarceration. That chapter brought pain, confusion, and a lot of questions about what the future would hold. Growing up as a child myself, I never knew my biological father. I did meet him once when I was 17 years old. I was raised by my mother and my stepdad, and it was my biological grandmother who would always try to share with me what my father was like growing up, right up until the time she passed away. I am so grateful for her, and now that I'm a grandmother myself, I just pray and hope that I can be as good as a grandmother as she was to me. Now that my son is a father himself, I can truly say to you, my dear, my lovely granddaughter, that although life will sometimes wound us, those wounds don't have to become the end of our story. Sometimes the wounds can become the very place where healing begins. That is what this podcast is all about. Through the work of therapy, leaning into vulnerability, reestablishing my faith, and doing some self-reflection, I began my own personal journey of healing, and that changed my life. I realized that if I could help at least one person feel less alone, then sharing my story would all be worth it. This podcast is a space for open and honest conversation about motherhood, mental health, healing, resilience, and the courage it takes to not give up on life and just continue to grow and keep going forward. But more than anything, this special dedication is about legacy. So with that, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being here. And again, my name is Tanasha Allwood, and this is the Grateful Wounds podcast. Let's get into this special dedication to my granddaughter. There are moments in life that change everything. Moments that break your heart, challenge your faith, and force you to rebuild who you are. But what if those moments, the ones that hurt you the most, what if those ones are also what lead you towards your healing? Welcome to the Grateful Wounds podcast. I'm your host, Tanasha Allwood, storyteller, media voice, and advocate for mental health, healing, and transformation. In this space, we will talk about the real journeys behind pain, motherhood, mental health, faith, relationships, resilience, transformation, and unexpected things that lead us on our healing journey. Because sometimes our deepest wounds, they become the beginning of our greatest growth and the ones that we are the most grateful for. Let's begin. Hello, my beautiful granddaughter. Right now, you are only a few months old, and you probably won't hear these words for many, many years from now. But I wanted to leave you something behind, something that you can return to whenever you need encouragement, guidance, or just a reminder of where you come from. You were born into a family that has experienced joy and hardship, growth and healing. And like many families, we've had our moments that tested our strength. But I want you to know something very important, my dear. Something about your story, something about the people who love you. Your father is a good-hearted man. Life doesn't always unfold perfectly, but people grow and they learn and they become stronger through their experiences that shape them. I also want you to know something about your grandma. That's me. I've spent much of my life learning how to heal, learning how to be honest about my pain, and learning that vulnerability is not weakness, it's actually courage. I created the Grateful Wounds podcast because I believe these experiences that challenge us the most can also teach us the deepest lessons. My dear, one day you will face your own challenges because it's just a part of being human. When those moments come, I want you to always remember this. It is okay to not be okay. You do not have to carry your pain alone. There is strength in seeking help, in talking to someone you trust, and even asking for professional guidance like a therapist. Silence can keep wounds hidden, but healing begins when you are willing to speak. I also want you to dream boldly. Never let anyone convince you that your dreams are too big or your voice is too small. You have the ability to become anything your heart desires, anything your heart leads you towards. Keep your faith, believe in your purpose, and know that your story is still being written. And if you've ever wondered, my dear, where your strength comes from, remember that you come from people who kept going no matter what. You come from people who kept on healing, who kept on believing that better days were ahead of them. You come from people that believe anything is possible. And no matter where life takes you, always know, my dear, that you are loved deeply and endlessly. My hope is that the work that I've done, the healing that I've done, the life that I've chosen, the stories that I choose to tell and share through this podcast will leave a legacy that encourages you and others to turn their life's wounds into wisdom. I love you with all my heart. Gigi. Thank you so much for listening to the Grateful Wounds podcast. I am so grateful for you. If today's conversation spoke to you, take a moment to share this episode with someone who might need it. Healing journeys are easier when we don't walk alone. And if you're enjoying this podcast, please subscribe, leave a review, and follow along for more honest conversations about healing, mental health, motherhood, faith, resilience, and transformation. You can also stay connected with me on Instagram. That's TANASHA_ALLWOOD for more stories and updates on my upcoming book, Grateful Wounds. Until next time, remember to count it all joy, because sometimes the wounds we wish never happened may very well be the ones that shape our purpose. I'm Tanasha Allwood, and thank you so much for listening. God bless.